And away we go. Welcome in. It is the BCJ podcast brought to you by the Holy Grail right here on BearcatJournal.com. Make sure, everybody, you are all invited. We are meeting at the Holy Grail next Friday, the 26th. A little preseason get-together for the Bearcat Journal family. Come hang out and enjoy some fun with us at the Holy Grail. We'll talk a bunch of Bearcats and have a good time. I've confirmed a couple special guests already for this event, Dave. I know Dave will not be there, unfortunately. Realignment expert Dan Simon also not going to be in attendance. But I have confirmed maybe two of the most legendary walk-ons in UC history will be joining us that day. Zach Tobler will be in the house. And soon to be Monday night college football, UC football expert and analyst Ryan Royer will be at the house.
Well, then I don't need to be there.
Yeah,
Tobes and Royer are going to be there. I mean, what do you need me for?
Potentially, Michael Kopegorodsky might also pop in, and I'm working on maybe a few.
Maybe we can get our guest tonight to show up.
I was going to ask him here when we're live. We are joined by special guest tonight, Anthony DeFino from the University of Cincinnati. He is the Deputy AD of External Relations, and he has been a regular guest of this show since he has joined the team here at UC. We always appreciate having him on. And you're more than welcome. Next Friday night, I've got radio. I'm filling in for Mo. But then I'll be heading down about 6:15, 6:30. I'll be at the Grail. We're going to hang out and mingle with the people. You're more than welcome.
Is this the pity invite where you mentioned it and you forgot to invite me before you had?
No, we haven't. We haven't.
Okay,
talked.
Cool.
You've talked. Dave set this up, right? Like you're Dave's guy.
Yeah, I mean, we had you on about this time last year, and
Dave starred as a favorite in my inbox.
Oh, geez, I don't know if that's a good or
inbox.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
It's a great thing.
But yeah, so I mean, like I'm not able to be there, but you know, you're more than welcome to try and fill my shoes, as easy as that might be. But we have we built this thing up pretty good, and I think we're gonna have a good crowd to talk some UC football before the season starts. But I want to, first off, thanks for joining us again. This time last year, you had never been to a true Bearcats football game. You had never been to a true Nippert night. So let's just go right into it. What did you think of your first season experience in UC football, and it being the greatest season in school history? So you're either to thank or to blame if things go downhill.
It was awesome. Never been to a game, never experienced it, and I think it hit me when I saw the band for the first time making their lap around the concourse. I'm like, wow, this is real. What really impressed me was how early the students show up, fill the student section. You're not seeing that anywhere around the country. Any of my stops, I think even when I was at Penn State, you might have 100 kids enter the stadium 2 hours early. There was 1,000 kids that first game filling up the stands, just ready to go. It was awesome. And I was truly impressed. I was honored to be there. It was just looking back on it. It was, you can't explain it till you're there. Even telling my family, hey, come visit. Trying to get my brother to come down for a game. He's like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm like, no, you got to understand. You got to be there. It is 37,000 people. That feels like 200,000. It is awesome.
So you guys kicked things off. You went through the season. You made some pretty speedy adjustments to how things were going, which I think was very much appreciated by the fan base. What was kind of your big picture takeaway in your mind from like start of year to end of year, where you kind of felt like your group, your team kind of understood what needed to be done and kind of where you were able to take things?
It was still developing throughout the year. We had to change on the fly. We didn't get intermission for a while, so we had to change a few things on the fly. And I think the best thing we could have done last year was just listen. What people might have said 3 years prior to last season, well, that was kind of all a moot point because, you had COVID, couldn't have a whole lot of fans show up. So the stress and the pressure on the stadium, having that many sellouts, we learned a lot about what we needed to do, which was great. The surveying, the fan council, everyone that was willing to give their opinion. I think that was a privilege for us, for our fans, to be able to speak up when they felt we were falling short of expectations. And it was great to hear the feedback when they thought we were doing great. So taking both sides of it, really working on what we were doing great and making it better, because that's how we operate. And then taking where we were falling short of expectations and trying to reach that standard. So I think just throughout the whole season last year, we were listening. We wanted to make changes as fast as we could. And there's still some changes we probably can't make going into this season. We had to prioritize a little bit and try to understand what is a 1 year fix, what's a 3 year fix. So I think some of the news today was important to us to say, okay, stadium security. I know that's not on the top of the list of every single fan's list, but for us to ensure our fans are safe when they're coming in, that was something we identified early last year that we had to just absolutely ensure that we fixed. And that was a top priority. So we're happy with that one. So our fans could feel more safe and secure. And then the other things that we did, the grid was really tearing apart at the seams in terms of how many people it could hold. Looking for additional opportunities, having our partner in Revel XP come in and take on the turnkey tailgating that we'll have up at the Commons, making the Commons a secondary grid. We're going to call it a premium experience. You saw what game day was like up there. So, those are things that we identified that we really wanted to get done. And, thanks to our fans just telling us and listen. Every time I've been on this pod, it's like, okay, we want to listen. Like, send us your thoughts. It's important. It really shaped what we did.
I guess we saw it with fan council, but like you said, you sent out the survey. What were kind of the, I don't know, one or two things that kept coming to you guys as maybe not even complaints, but just the things that stood out that you then identified? It was like, the fans are talking about this. We need to make these type of adjustments or changes.
Yeah, and I got to preface this one. It's the same around the country. We saw the same trends that I saw around the country with the scoring on concessions. I don't think, if you have a 5-star or a 5-course meal out there, they're still going to rank very low, because I think it's service time. If you miss one play, you're upset, so you blame that on what you're trying to do. But no, seriously, I think our concessions, we have to speed of service, so we're working on that. In terms of we're going to beta test some line queuing. We were going to do that at the spring event. We didn't have the spring event, so we couldn't really test it under pressure. So we'll beta test some line queuing. We'll beta test some other pieces, like going away from draft beer. So it's canned beer. Speed of service is extremely important. We're going to beta test some in-seat ordering for certain sections and see if they can handle the stress test on some of that, and then expand it. Obviously these were things we couldn't do at the end of last season that we're going to have to do, games 1 and 2. And if things go well, continue to expand. I think there's some hidden gems still that people haven't taken advantage of, like the grab and go in the Catskeller. That's something that we felt was underutilized based on looking at the data. So just overall concessions, not that the food quality was not meeting standard. It was more, we have tight concourses, which leads to lines, leads to confusion. So there's some things that we're going to attempt to do this year. You'll see some tweaks and some changes. The stadium perimeter was also something that we wanted to key in on. Time of entry, the turn time as people get through the gates. I think that first game we made that adjustment to the perimeter, but you're continuing to hit on things like fast pass. making sure fans could utilize that. We invested in new scanners. So we had about 8-year-old scanners. So we've updated the technology. So we purchased, I think, 40 or 50 new scanners to distribute at our gates, which should make things go a little bit more smoothly. And then also just our service side. It's when you're interacting with our service level people, whether it's our security staff, ushers, ticket takers, just making sure they're all aware of what the situation is, where first aid rooms are, and then just overall, just making people feel more comfortable and helping with the wayfinding, because it is a tight concourse. Trying to get people to go into the gate that is closest to their seats. We're excited for that. Again, we were listening. And if there's things we missed, we know it's on our list. But the fan council and the surveys were huge for us.
So going kind of in a little more in depth on the release you guys put out today, I'm not going to just go through it line by line, but is there one or two things from that? You mentioned the security element. Is there anything from that you want to expand on or just emphasize that is new, that is maybe a change that people need to be aware of? Stuff along those lines.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting my camera on for you better. I think the open gate's going to be pretty quick. It's not going to be your typical magnometer or metal detector like you see in the airport. So that will be pretty quick for our fans. The key there is having the clear bag. So just like any pro stadium, having your clear bag ready, having your tickets downloaded before you hit the gate, those will help speed of entry. So as fans engage in those pieces, that really help them get through. We're excited as we kind of go through just looking at the concessions from a premium level. That's also something we worked really hard on for the folks in the club. They kind of spoke and said, hey, we need to elevate our experience here. So that was something we truly focused on with Aramark and our, how we handle the concessions up there. So you'll see a major investment from the department and Aramark and really upgrading that experience. And then also the keys for us are bringing in Revel XP and working with them in terms of field level suites, the turnkey tailgating. So those are the big three, I would say, that we're really focused a lot of attention on to make sure we got right. And we're thrilled with how Revel's starting out with the field level suites. We still have some availability. I think it's tough to sell something when we had some renderings, but ultimately they're going to start building those, I think, this week or next. So we'll actually see them physically. But those are great for bachelor parties, get-togethers, bachelorette parties. But you want to bring the office out for a night. It's a unique experience. You are field level. You'll see the players live and up close. You won't get the bird's eye view. It's not like you're watching it on TV, but it is truly a unique experience that it's never been had at Nippert before.
How many of those will there be? And then can you, is it raised up off the field a certain amount, and just kind of what's the details behind it from a F&B standpoint and the hospitality of it?
Yeah, it will operate like a regular normal suite would. We're working through the menu. The menu should be finalized, I believe, by week's end. But it would be right there on the ground, might have a little raise to it. We have 7 of them. 3 of them are larger in the 18 to 20 seat range, and then 4 of them are a little smaller, 8 to 10 to 12 range. But they're intimate. They're right underneath the lair. You're going to have a lot of sound pumping behind you. The people who sit in the lair are awesome. They really make a lot of noise, and they're like a second student section on that end. It's awesome. So you'll have the experience. The team will run out right in front of you. You'll see all the media folks right next to you. You have some cheerleaders, and it's just, you're going to see football from that level. It's a different experience. If you've never been down there, I encourage everybody to try to, find a few friends and come out to a game down there. Upgrade your seats for a game. It'd be a lot of fun.
So I'm just curious. I'm just curious. That area has been my office for the last 16 years. So has it been discussed what concessions are going to be made for me because you're taking away my office?
Well, you have the ability to move wherever you want, right? Inside those yellow lines.
Make him go to the press box.
Oh, no.
Well,
it
might be a
the
good
football press
opportunity to
box is
talk to
too
some
sterile.
people.
The football press box is too sterile. I'm loud.
He can come.
I'm not good. It's not that, like, everybody thinks it's the cheering thing, right? I don't cheer. It's not that. It's just that I'm loud and I interrupt other people working, and I know inherently that they hate me for that. So I don't subject them to it. I need to be in a place that's loud. Guess I'm gonna have to move down by the student section as my normal spot.
Well, yeah, we're not. You go to the student section. We'll retain this spot, and we'll always just kind of leave a little space for you.
Yeah, just put like I've got Zach is gonna bring in. He's got some BCJ stickers for you, and maybe you can just put a sticker on the wall where my bag used to go, as in memory, in memoriam of not having my spot anymore.
You got it. We'll put down one of those little X's that the coaches use to get the special teams ready. Next up.
All right, I'm sorry to not. I wasn't sticking to sports there, Dave. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
We could take the field level suites back. Like, we don't need to do them if it's going to really interrupt.
I just need a little spot for
operation.
me. That's all I need is just a little spot for me, and I'll be fine.
I'm sure he's got it. I'm sure he can find a spot for you somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere I can't see the game.
You might not be in the stadium, but
I'm going to be on the basketball courts in the rec center.
That's right. Armory. So Revel XP is coming in doing the field level stuff, but also doing kind of as you said, the turnkey tailgate on the commons. How has that gone? I think some people have an understanding of it, but this might be the first time someone else has heard about it. How is that different than the setup at the grid, and what is all that? What all does that include for them?
Yeah, so we're not changing much of the grid. If you've had your tailgate, we're going to let you keep your tailgate because that's such a great culture down there. What we're really doing is allowing fans to, especially at the grid, if they don't want to lug their TV and grill and it's turnkey. Give it over to our representation from Revel XP, and they'll take care of everything for you, from catering to the beverages, to getting a grill there if you want it, to putting TVs out. I saw last year just people lugging TVs from the parking garage, and I was like, wow. So Revel is, they are an outside company, but they bleed black and red. The GM that was hired, Tommy Easley, swam at UC. He's been in the industry for a little bit. If I didn't tell you they're Revel XP, you wouldn't know. You'd just be like, hey, what's that guy doing? That UC employee. I mean, that's how integrated they are, and they need to be. So the grid, again, sold out. We're giving people the opportunity to upgrade their, whatever they want to do. I wouldn't even say upgrade. I've seen some pretty awesome tailgates out there, but ease of use and worry-free in a sense. And then for the commons, that's going to be exclusive to purchase the tailgating through us. It's a premium area. Again, we want to make it grid-like. We know that might take a year to really build up and for fans to see that area for what it is, but we expect that to take on. I wouldn't even call it a wait list. We have had people concerned that they don't want to go to the commons because they hear the grid is a place to be. But honestly, the commons, as we grow this, as we sell out more games, we go into the Big 12, we need another place to have tailgating, and the commons is it. So when game day rolls around again, those people have their plot of land for game day. They're set. So I think, and you see the stadium. It's right there. It's right next to a gate. To me, having two areas like that is phenomenal, and we really want fans to take advantage of it and really build up that same type of culture at the commons. And the Revel folks they bleed black and red. They are us. They're here to help. they'll answer questions. They want to help our fans understand what packaging is. You're paying a little bit of a premium, but you don't have to lift a finger. You show up and everything's there for you. That's if that's it. There's a little bit of a premium to that, but I'm willing to say some fans really want that. They want that weight lifted. Very important that they have it taken care of for them. They just show up, have fun, and let somebody else deal with the mess.
Yeah, I mean, I'll help sell it in the sense of I go in that gate every game because my seats are in 122, so I use that gate, and there's never anybody going in there, and you're up at the Commons, you're 100, 200 yards away. Tailgate, don't have to bring anything, show up to your tailgate and stroll right in. And on your way in, you can stop at my personal bar, which is the Coors Light Chill Zone that on top of the concession stand, which also nobody ever uses. So I go up there and get a beer in like 30 seconds, and it's quite a perfect situation if that's kind of what you're looking for. So definitely,
you're selling out your spot, Dave. It's going to be crowded now.
I've been talking about it for since it started, and it's never, no one's ever up there. It's so.
But we did have a lot of people say, how come you're not using this green space? How come you're not using the commons? Like, that'd be great for people who can't get a spot on the grid. Here it is. Like, for us, we're trying to solve some problems.
Right.
And I think again, it's the flywheel. It's going to take a little bit to get going, but it's going to really it's going to take off when the right people get in there for the right reasons and understand what it is and are excited to be there and build that culture, just like down at the grid.
You mentioned, you're kind of like 1 year things and then your things that you want to do, but might be more of a 2 or 3 year plan. Give us just like maybe 1 or 2 little hints on like where you see, you don't have to delve into it because it's obviously still a work in progress, but like in your mind's eye, like what do you want to get done from this part of the experience in the next couple of years?
I want to continue to engage our fans and listen to them to help build that out. Most importantly, I think it's ease of throughput at our gates. It's continuing to expand the concession opportunities. So we worked hard with Aramark to get the number of points of sales up. Again, I think as you do things like grab and goes, there's some opportunities that you've seen in the industry. I think Amazon just rolled one out, which is kind of a just take it and go technology. You don't have to cash out. I think some of those touchless opportunities where it's really evolving to incorporate some of those into our stadium. Now we do have our challenges. It's a very old, it's a historic stadium. Even trying to run power, I'm finding out is tough when you're trying to drill through 80-year-old concrete and get some things done from a technology side. But ultimately, things like very long-term permanent scoreboards in the other end zone is something we really want to look at.
That's a hot one, and I was going to ask you about it.
That was plural.
My next question was going to be about.
Dave said to me, what
right.
I would, okay, one on each side of Dearly. I'm probably, get fired for saying something like that, but that's how I would approach it. But, sorry, Dave, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's one that's been asked about. I mean, it's been asked about. It's been talked about in fan council. I'm sure fans that are on the scoreboard side of the stadium want something on the other end. And we talked last year a lot about your vision for in-game, your love for the band, your love for the collegiate atmosphere. Anything different this year that people will notice as far as like the in-game presentation compared to last year?
Can I go back to the scoreboard for a second?
Sure.
I do want to point out we were exhaustive in our search to solve something this year. The technology or heights of scoreboards, things like that we were going to try to put field level would really interrupt some of the sight lines for some fans in that area. So, we are still looking at other opportunities. we could still test some opportunities. Just there's not too many televisions out there that are outdoor rated for sun glare, that even trying to put them on the layer. So we did look at a lot, and it's really going to be more of a, I would say another 12 months, 9 to 12 months of really trying to get our ducks in a row on that one, including investments, working with our video board partners like Daktronics to get really creative. Back to in-game, if I could fast forward to your question. I challenge our team a lot, and I think there's some things we can do better, and they know it. They do a great job. And by my team, I mean our marketing staff. Sabrina, who handles all of our football marketing, she's our assistant AD for marketing. She's phenomenal, and she comes from a background of she was at Illinois. She understands how some of these Power Fives need to operate, and she's really a student of what we do. And there are some changes that she wants to make, and sometimes we just can't pull them off. So we've collectively looked at this. You'll see some changes pregame, what we call showtime. Once you hit the 20-minute mark, I call that showtime, because then it's the commercials are done, the things on the field, the warm-ups are done. Now it's our time to really welcome the team onto the field and welcome them into game mode. That's when the band starts playing. You get the parachuters dropping the game ball. You'll see some changes in there. We're still working through exactly how that looks, because as you go through a show and you look at this like a produced show, things will change. So I can't commit to this will happen at that time, but we'll have some pregame changes. You'll probably see a different look around where our team comes in. So we're working on that. And then in game, it's just a matter of how do we engage the fans a little differently, trying to identify areas where, could we bring in a RF camera or radio frequency camera, and do more in the stands, engage the second level, look at an in-game host, engage things like that, where we kind of have a little bit more of a flow with our fans, getting up, interviewing them, doing more engaged contests. That's our goal. Supply chain has taken a little bit of a hit trying to get some of those camera types here. So you might see it game 2, game 3, you might see it game 1, depending on when some of that stuff shows up. But overall, you'll see some of those changes. Again, we want to engage our fans a little bit more in game. I want to, how we view and how we have to look at all of our venues. It's a 360-degree theater from top to bottom as well. It's a vertical theater. So how are we engaging? And hopefully fans in basketball will like this. How are we engaging more on the second level? What type of support are we putting up there? So really looking at doing things a little bit more in stereo and advancing. I say stereo, and we talk about video boards. I forgot to mention, Dave, sound, the sound,
that's a hot button one.
We get that one a lot. And, as you work with audio techs and you're trying to figure it out, you have a one-sided speaker. It's not stereo. It's, you don't have that other side. So we actually do hear from folks who are sitting near the speaker that it's not loud enough. So it really, we try to balance it. Some people might have heard it last year. We were trying to bring sound levels down because we got the feedback that it was too loud. And then I think from the same sections in our surveys, it was, one person saying it was too loud, one person saying it was too soft. So, but there were some things that we would still do differently and change. You'll from my ear, it's we got to understand when a PA announcer is talking, turn down music, and so some things that we will change to help with clarity. But again, that's another piece that is probably not a tomorrow fix. It takes a lot when you're talking about speakers and audio techs and everything else. We are working with CCM a lot more to help with a lot of the theatrics and the sound and some of that. So there's a great partnership there that we're proud of. No stone unturned for me. And if there's stones I don't know about, I want to hear about them.
So obviously moving to the Big 12 changes a lot of things for all elements of the program outside of just having a bigger budget. What is the change for you and your team look like, as far as, does it just mean the things that we can do, that bucket is bigger, or how are you viewing the change in the as you formulate your 3-year plan? I won't even say 5-year, because that's kind of pointless in college sports right now to look that far ahead. But does it mean anything to you other than the money element of it?
I've taken the approach that I'm not going to see another dime to do what we need to do. We might get investments, but I don't want to count investments that could happen against what we have right now. So I feel like we're operating pretty well in what we have right now, and it's just some of those little investments that will go a long way over time. Over the past year, we've invested, and I think the biggest investment we made was in our people, our staff. So if you're going to give me any more money to invest, it's going to be in more staff, more skilled people who could specialize in some more things. People like Eichel, who just do a tremendous job, need more people to handle video cameras and produce content, and, engage sponsors, corporate sponsors, and things like that. So that those are the things I would continue to bring in and take a look at. But Cincinnati, right? It's grind and grit. So I wouldn't want to count the fact that, I might have another $1 million to spend on X. I'm moving ahead. Like, I have the same budget to accomplish what I need, which means we need to be very effective with that budget and really be meticulous about prioritizing how we implement it. Now, if John Cunningham and the university comes to me tomorrow and says, like, hey, we have $5 million for you, Anthony, over the next 5 years. Okay, then we're prioritizing. What are those things like from what we're hearing in our fan surveys? So I'm not saying we're going to blow out count courses 30 more feet. I don't know if that's the best spend compared to having a sound tech on site, getting that sound system working correctly in a way that I can now tell what sections are getting hit with what decibel levels. There's a lot, but the investments will go along only so far, I would say. We still have pieces of this like NIL, and how that operates alongside of us. We're still building facilities, upgrading facilities. So I think those investments are still happening, regardless of what league we're in. It's nice we're going to the Big 12. I know we have to get day one ready. It's highly important. And fans should be donating as much as they can. So when we play Kansas in basketball the first time, we feel like we are ready to play them. But there's just a lot of those. Dave, is that I danced around your question. I'm sorry, but what I'm saying is, like, we're still going to grind it out. We're still going to have that mentality.
You're not spending money that you're not allocating money to things that you might not have the money for. You're kind of, if it comes, it comes, and we have a list that we use it for, but we can't just assume that the influx of cash to the department is coming to you. So
we're not gonna have 3 alternate courts for men's and women's basketball. I'll tell you that. So we're gonna continue to do what we have to do and really focus on the experience. So if that means some changes in some sports where it engages the fans a little differently, then it might be more Wi-Fi. It might be more things like that we actually incorporate that would make their experience, spending 3, 4, 5, 6 hours on campus with us that much better.
Obviously, the focus right now, football, and men's, men's basketball right around the corner. Moving to the Big 12, though, they're strong in a lot of sports. So what is your team, and how do you guys look at increasing the entertainment value and the fan awareness and just butts in seats for baseball, women's basketball, whatever that might be? Like, is that a part of the strategy too, moving forward?
Absolutely. It was part of the strategy last year too. Focus on attendance, focus on how do we drive more people to the volleyballs and baseballs. You saw it with baseball, attendance was an all-time high. I think there was probably a few things that happened to help us get there. but you look at a volleyball, you look at a women's basketball, I really key in on my staff and say, okay, whoever's running baseball, volleyball, women's basketball, let's challenge ourselves. Does women's basketball have to look like men's basketball? Could the court setup be different? Could we push bleachers in? Could we have more of a family zone? And it's like, okay, well, I don't know. And it's like, okay, let's think about that. Let's ask those questions. Let's engage in a different way that doesn't cost us any money. What costs us money is setting up a data warehouse and ensuring that all that information flow, camper lists, people that do enter to wins for women's basketball tickets are some of those pieces need to be engaged in a different way. So, how are we working our text messaging service that we're going to implement? How are we going to do things that really engage those segmented lists to grow the fan base? When you're looking at a women's basketball program, how are we engaging fans that don't know about us? Are we on the radio? Are we streaming? Are we doing things maybe differently than before that are, I wouldn't say necessarily easy to implement, but if we spent some time on them, it changes the outlook of the program and how we try to gain attendance. So we are focusing on that type of, I would say, campaign style for each sport. When you come to a women's soccer game and there's a QR code to go to and enter to win, well, yeah, you're not paying money to go to a women's soccer game. But if we could collect your data and know that you're at that women's soccer game, we want to reach out. Our marketing team will reach out and ensure that all the games coming up. We try to understand what the demographics are of someone coming out to that game. Do you have kids? Do you have kids under 18? Every single kid under 7 years old plays soccer. So how do we really engage that? And that's, we got to work a little smarter. So those are the other pieces of our investment that we had, in terms of a data warehouse. Bria McLaurin is an absolute genius. We had elevated her to associate AD for ticketing. She will take this and run with it. I mean, she has her degree in data analytics and business. So I trust her with that. And along with Sabrina and her team, combining those two, and you both know Ben. He's a wizard. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He pieced it all together there, and it's just, we have a really strong external unit that really integrate well with each other and play off each other's skill sets. So that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to focus and try to grow each sport individually.
Since you mentioned basketball, I do have a couple basketball
do that.
questions.
Like a little basketball.
There you go.
Sure. There we
I
go.
do have a couple basketball things I wanted to discuss. I think you know one of them.
We can't name the court, the Chad Brendel court, but okay.
I mean, we can. If I had the money, you can name it anything that I want you to name it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give you $1 more than he's gonna give you.
This is, I feel like I'm at dueling pianos. Okay.
First one, and I was speaking with someone at practice today at Camp Higher Ground, and they wanted me to afford you the opportunity to discuss travel and those opportunities to Maui coming up this November.
Absolutely. We
see, you like how I threw the lob up
thank
there?
You.
Now you get to dunk it home.
Thank you. We're chartering to Maui on November 19th. So that's Saturday.
If you're going in September. That's a trip to Hawaii.
September, Saturday, same difference. Right?
He's on the lead scout team. He's got to check out all the hotels, all the beaches, make sure they got the right ones.
But you get to stay through November 24th. So this is like a 2-month trip. No, you're going to go out November 19th, come back that Friday morning. We land back in Cincinnati that Friday morning. And we still have some limited spots on our charter. We'd love for fans to join us. $2,500. So, if you don't like airports overall and you want to jump on our charter and not deal with the whole TSA thing and Thanksgiving travel, we encourage fans to come out. $2,500. They have great packages for the hotel rooms out that way. But to be on our plane, be with our team, be around our travel party, and see how we travel. We welcome anyone to sign up. You call our ticket office. I think there's maybe 15 spots left. So I would say that's between now and maybe it is September. Those might be gone. But
Well, I mean, if
we're
they
encouraged. It's
sell,
fun. Yeah, if they sell, it's because
that's
of
a
you.
direct representation of talking about it on this podcast. So there's only 14 spots left because then I'm going to need one
Oh yeah,
as
well,
an advertiser.
you know, if they call and say, "Hey, Chad told me to call," well, we could see how many people you get up to and see if you earned your.
We're gonna
Let's
charge
go.
Yeah,
Let's
charge,
go.
I mean,
charge them more.
No, but then they might say, "I don't want to be sat on the plane next to Chad." I don't know, or we'll figure that out.
I'm a delighted
work
person.
through that.
I might be a pain in the ass on Twitter, but I'm delightful to be around him.
I'll sit
Well,
next to you.
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
we could talk
People would
sports all day. This is
Love
great.
to go on a 7-hour plane ride next to you.
There is a layover. Don't get me wrong. There is a layover in Oakland to refuel, but that's it's a quick layover. We're not pulling into the terminal. We're up and down.
What if we get 2 spots and then you have to sit next to me, Dave? You can handle that, right?
Oh yeah, they have drink carts on airplanes.
It's a charter. You can do whatever you want.
That's right. That's
A lot of
right.
Gatorade. A lot of Gatorade.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and this is a big one on our basketball board, and it's something a lot of people want to talk about. The reseeding process is happening. They want it. They want answers.
I signed an NDA. Does Anthony? Do you want to break the news?
No, we're still looking through everything. I know there's some anxiety around this. I get it.
That's kind of what I want to get to. Is there's a lot of people that are very jumpy about this process because everybody thinks when they hear reseeding, I'm going to lose my seat. You guys are cognizant of that, right? Like, what is the thought process in this as it plays out?
Yeah, it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna do this reseeding and this is how we're gonna do it exactly. I think it was important that we've taken a long time to listen and formulate and understand. Some of it, when were we going to the Big 12? That really played into where we went with this. As I talk about people like Bria and how we look at the data, there are some things we needed to do. Our team seats are not behind our team bench, for an example. That's important to players. That's important to coaches, that everywhere else they go, team seats are behind the team bench. So as you kind of look at how we need to manipulate a manifest, as you look at the contracts with the Big 12 and what the Big 12 requires, the Big 12 requires more seats behind our visiting team bench than what was previously stated in our AAC conference. So I think as we look through that, we have to make really tough decisions, but the right decisions to get us to where we need to go. We want our team's families and friends sitting behind our bench. They are the ones on the court putting in all the work and wearing that CPAW on their chest. So those are the things that really we're still looking at and trying to understand, and how it plays out. So look, I'll tell you, we have to look at things like the Champions Club. Why do we have full service food up in football, the Gravity Club now? Why don't we have that same thing over in basketball? A lot of the feedback said we would actually prefer if Champions Club was all inclusive for food and beverage outside of the cash bar. We're looking at that. What we don't want to do is put something out and then waterfall and cascade more of that messaging, like, oh well, here's what we're going to do in the Champions Club now. Here's what we're going to do with pricing. We want the full package out and ready to go. So as we work through this, we're still going through a lot of the manifest, the manipulation of projected pricing, price maps. It's not as, I would say, cut and dry. It really does take a lot of thought and a lot of man and woman hours to put this packaging together so it is frequently asked questions, things like that we work through. So I would say be patient. I know there's a lot of anxiety. Everything will work through, as we work through this priority points, and we're not telling you to donate right now. We'll let you know when to work through your donations. But ultimately, I understand there's anxiety, and we just really want this to be airtight, buttoned up, and to a point where we feel we won't get a lot of questions that we didn't think of. But we're still evaluating everything.
And BCJ members move to the front of the line.
We'll tell you when to donate. Look, it is important. Look, it is extremely important. We talk about being day one ready. We really talk about the investments that need to be made to compete. And we're gonna have Kansas here. Yeah, we're gonna have Kansas here. We're gonna have Baylor here. Teams that have won national championships recently that we need to compete against. So we're not gonna shy away from saying, hey, we do need people to engage with us on this day one ready campaign. $20 a month, $50 a month, whatever people could put in. I think it's important. It only helps your standing and priority points for, season ticket upgrades, football bowl games, NCAA championships. There's a lot of reasons to do it. So I know there's anxiety. I would say we want to get this right. We don't want to roll something out that doesn't make sense for our fans, and they're not going to like it. But that's why we've been doing a lot of listening and trying to understand the needs of our fans, especially lower level folks, and also second level, because there are ticket communities that they want to protect. We're trying to say, can we do that? Can we not do that? How would we do it? Okay, here's how we would do it. Does it make sense? I don't know. It kind of goes against what we're trying to do. So there's all those questions that we're trying to play out. There's all those categories of of ticket types as well. If you're a courtside member, if you're a Champions Club member, if you're an Arena Club member, there's a lot going on that really, there's a lot of thought being put into this, and we have to get it right.
Well,
great answer.
Yes.
Because I think that's what people, they want to be reassured that it's not just being done willy-nilly without everything being considered and all of the points from every side of why to do this, how to do it, how to respect people that have been in their seats for a long time. I think people, as long as people know all of that is going into consideration, and it's not just being done like, oh, going to the Big 12, everybody's screwed. Like, I think that's what they want to, that's what they want to know is coming from inside the athletic department. That's, to me, that's the important part. And when you're at this part of the process, like you're not to the finish line. You're what, maybe halfway through the race when it comes to this?
Little more than halfway. I mean, we've been working on it for a year. It is a weekly, it's a weekly engagement for me and my team. I will tell you, if I showed you the spreadsheets I had and we've been working on them, they're intricate. There are many tabs. There's a lot of formulas there. I mean, there is a science and an art to ensuring that we are protecting what we need to protect, but also taking in all the fans' thoughts and everything that we've heard. Again, there's a lot of communities. They want to sit next to their, how can you assure me that I'm going to sit next to my 12 friends who are in 5 different accounts? Well, I get it. I probably can assure you that. But the question, again, we asked ourselves is, how could we assure it? In what way could we? Or in what ways could we say, hey, look, in no scenario could we ensure that? So that we're trying really hard to look at those questions with answers, because I'm not a no guy. I'm okay, how could we get these things done? And if the answer at the end of that is it's a tough no, then understandably we have to explain that too. We have to explain every reason and rationale for which direction we took and why.
And that is a tough thing. Like I think you went through something similar, Dave, with your family did when there was kind of a reseeding in the new arena. Like it's tough because you do get accustomed to, you do get used to the people you sit with, especially if you've had the same people in your little section. You might not have known them when it happened, but 10 years down the road, like you enjoy sitting with those people. Like that's a difficult part, right? Because it's one of those things that you have to work through. That's why what I'm saying there is that might be why there's somebody that wants to sit next to people with 5 different accounts, is because it's intertwined and they've made friends with these people that they've been sitting next to. It's hard. It's hard. You ever been to Lubbock?
I don't know if they have the season on the Bob joke, but you know,
I'm
Bob
not in on it.
Bob Huggins was asked about UC going into the Big 12.
Okay.
And he went into this long thing about how hard it is to go to Lubbock and play a 9 o'clock game on a Thursday. And, you get home at 3 o'clock and kids have to go to school in the morning. It's hard. It's hard. You ever been to Lubbock?
Probably not.
I'll tell you, it's hard. It's hard for a 7 p.m. game at home.
Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on with us, answering all of our questions, helping get some info out to the fans. You obviously have a standing invite to the Simone family tailgate on top of Campus Green, section 122. You're more than welcome to come down during the game, during football games. So, we every year look forward to this. Helps get out some good info to our fans and kind of go a little bit deeper than just what they can read, on the website. So thank you again for coming on with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always fun. If this is like an SNL thing, if I hit like 5 guest appearances, do I get something too?
You're at 2. You're at 2
like
right
a coat?
now?
Do I get a jacket?
I think this is 3. Isn't this 3?
Is 3.
Is
Man,
it 3?
dude,
Oh, it's 3.
This is 3.
Bearcat
Man.
Journal apparel.
I get you.
I can rep that. Yeah. See, look, it's great.
One of these hats?
I don't know how many. If you had a guest get on 5 times, and they'll feel slighted. But no,
Fickell's been on a bunch. I don't think Wes has been around enough.
I wouldn't count Luke. I mean, that's like an automatic once a year thing. So, or even twice a year sometimes. I mean,
my point is, I want to come back.
Did you hear this morning, Anthony? Have you heard what happened this morning?
I took my daughter to school and my son to walk the mall because I was on daddy duty all day. That's all I know. That's what I heard.
So I was on Big 12 radio this morning on ESPNU and Sirius XM. And as I'm at higher ground, getting everybody's walking into the facility to go out to practice. And as I'm doing the interview, I see Luke in my rearview mirror. I'm like, come here. So he comes over and he leans in my car window and he says, what do you want? And I'm like, I'm on Big 12 radio. And he didn't believe me at first. And the guys are like, hi, Luke. And he's like, hey, guys, how you doing? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, they asked me what the secret to Cincinnati's success was. And I told him it was Brady. He started cracking up. He's like, you're right. It is Brady. And he walked away. It was pretty funny.
He probably didn't believe you because there's a lot of pranks going on out there, as you
True.
see. So, I mean,
True.
like there are a lot of pranks. It's kind of fun to watch those, but
it is. But it was the guys on Big 12 radio were like, I don't think we've ever had that before, where a guest started doing his own show with the head coach while he was on the air with us. And I was like, it's Bearcat Journal. Like you never know what's going to happen here.
That's awesome. That is great. Well, no, I appreciate it. Be more than happy to join again. Friday night, if I could get out, we'll call it a date night or something. We'll get down there.
Are you a Holy Grail guy? Have you been down there yet?
If I answer this,
you can answer. I mean, you've got young children.
I have
you're not down at the banks all the time. I would assume.
I have not been. So
They got good food. They've got good drink selection, and it's a really cool atmosphere down there. The Reds are out of town, so you're not going to have to
Even
worry
if
about
they
the 3
were
or
in
400. Can I make the joke first, Dave? You're not going to have to worry about the 300 or 400 Reds fans mulling around, but it should be a pretty good time if you can make it down.
yeah, no, appreciate the invite. And I'll always end because it feels like I'm getting kicked off here.
You can stay however
No,
long
I'm kidding.
you
No,
like.
I'm kidding. If anyone ever needs anything, has thoughts, reach out. We're here. Even if it's after game 1, you don't want to fill out the survey, you should. My email's on the website. Send away. Happy to respond as quickly as possible and try to figure out solutions. So that's the name of the game. We're here for both our media friends and our fans. So just that's it. That's why we're here. So we appreciate it, and maybe we'll see you next Friday night.
We will look forward to it. Dave will be in Michigan, and our realignment expert Dan Simon is going to be going to a realignment expo. I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Simon or not.
Do you have
The guy knows his stuff.
do you have any realignment nuggets you want to drop before you?
I think we're going to the Big 12. That's a good one. We just got to focus on where we're going.
Right.
2023 is going to be a great year, fun year, challenging year. So yeah, we'll let everybody else figure the rest of that out. We'll just do what we need to do and focus on making Nippert Fifth Third awesome. Great place to get our Big 12 feet underneath us and get a lot of wins.
Appreciate you, man. We will. If I don't see you Friday, we will definitely cross paths soon. Either way.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
All right. Bye.
There you go, Dave. That's always your fastball at this time of year.
Hey, I think it's important.
Yes.
They've done a great job of being accessible. And I think fans appreciate getting a little bit more, what you want to call it, detail behind the scenes into the thought process of how things are being looked at, how things are being studied. I mean, things aren't just yes or no. I mean, they are really diving in and trying their best to make changes and enhancements and things along those lines, whether it's to the whole, fan experience, the game day experience, the in-game experience, just the whole bit of it is definitely something that they have been super, cognizant of and receptive to. And Anthony is serious. Like, I mean, you email him, he's going to email you back. This is not like a situation where it goes to some secretary or administrative assistant, and they're only picking out the very specific emails that, and then passing them on. So always enjoy him joining us. Thank you, Derek, for the donation.
I'm gonna let you handle that. I've got to go tinkle. So
can you
let's
please
see.
say
I'm listening.
five positive things about?
Actually, but I do want to say one thing.
Yes.
Did you see there was something that was out yesterday, I think, that was like listing like players, like impact players or whatever, and impact transfers or something.
Okay.
And they listed a guy from Orlando Tech, and they labeled them Central Florida Community College. Central Florida CC. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And UCF Twitter was big mad. And I think
the affront.
Central Florida Community College might be better than Orlando Technical
CFCC?
Institute. Yeah. CFCC. I think that might be better than Orlando Tech. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
Derek five nice things about them.
Derek wants me to say 5 positive things about UCF. Very grateful for us making the CFP, so need to show some love. Okay, 5 positive things. For the most part, I like their uniforms. I like their colors and their designs. That's one. Two, I mean, it's in Orlando. I've heard that's a nice area. That's two. Three, their stadium hasn't collapsed yet, so I think that's a positive. Four, they have a great sponsor on their football field. Is it still roof.com or some roofing website? So that's four. And five, the weather is typically nice when you visit the campus. So there's five. I hope those were good. But again, thank you, Derek, for the donation. And I guess I will literally answer any question you pose as long as there's a $sign behind it.
Dave, I have some breaking news that came from Cincinnati football's Twitter account.
Okay, what's that?
They had a tweet that I would be playing right now, except there was a song that would have gotten us hit for copyright.
Okay.
They said there's training camp and then there's Camp Higher Ground featuring the show.
I see that
at Ryan Royer. And let me just tell you.
So Brady Collins bought a wrestling ring.
Listening to it was amazing. Like
Brady Collins bought a wrestling ring.
I
and
see
it is
the wrestling ring
at Higher Ground tonight. He told me this today, and I promised I wouldn't mention it until the tweet went out.
It's a very small wrestling ring, but a wrestling ring nonetheless.
You may need to turn it down though to make sure that the song doesn't get us clipped.
You can't hear this. You can't hear it.
Okay, because I heard it when I was listening to it here.
Is it Pump It Up?
No, it is. Okay. Let the Bodies Hit the Floor.
Oh, okay.
Which may be the best entrance music possible for Ryan Royer. Actually,
I'm so excited that he's going to be with us every.
I tweeted as much as I retweeted the video. I basically said, I am looking forward to spending every Monday night with this crazy person who I also admire tremendously.
I actually, the good news, Aaron, you don't know this yet. I doubled back yesterday and confirmed with Royer that he will be there every Monday night at 8:00 during the season.
Nice.
And also confirmed that he will be at the Holy Grail.
So does that mean Brent's out?
We might not talk, Aaron.
I mean,
we might not talk.
Is that different than any other Monday?
I usually manage to get a couple words in, and you just sit and look incredulous at the bottom of the screen.
I'm here for the comedic relief. That's really it. But I just wanted to hop in as Chad was away, and I found a good window.
I saw it, and I was like, "What?" You look at it, and you can't really tell what's going on.
Well, that's what's going on.
Just looking at the tweet because I wasn't playing it. We were, talking to Anthony and everything. So, so looking forward to viewing it. Since we're talking about, I want to bring this up real quick. We're talking about music, and we mentioned "Pump It Up," and I've been stewing on this, and
this is Dave's hot take of the day.
I mentioned this to Chad and Brent at the scrimmage. I want to get Aaron's input on this as well.
Aaron, come here. You haven't heard this yet.
Okay. As much as everybody knows that I have been at the front of the line for Pump It Up, I think it should be retired.
Because everybody stole it?
No, it has nothing to do with that. I think it was the perfect song for the perfect season, and it just doesn't hit the same way now as it did when it became part of the program and then during the season. And I think it needs to be remembered as the 2021 Bearcat football anthem, and it's a new song should be brought into the fold for the 2022 Bearcats. Agree, disagree?
I mean, I guess
I don't hate it. Here's why I don't hate it. If Aaron, go ahead. He asked you first. Go ahead.
I mean, I guess the only thing I was going to say is if you're ready to retire it, you have to have something in the chamber ready to go.
That's on them. They figured out Pump It Up. I mean, I don't have an issue with other people play. It's a song. Like, people can play whatever song they want to play. if we happen to be the first one to play it, then that's honorable and distinguished for the Bearcats. But you don't think that as a Mets fan that everybody is all of a sudden going to start playing Narco by Blaster Jackson, Timmy Trumpet. The whole thing with their closer has just blown up. We're going to hear that all over, football stadiums and stuff this fall. So whoever uses it is not a big deal to me. I just think that to us, it is.
Aaron got very mad about this recently.
It is very much a UC 2021 thing, and I don't think it should be a UC 2022 thing.
Again, it needs to be something that is no one else is doing. I hate these teams that just have no creativity and have to just take what everybody else is doing because it's hip, fun, and trendy. Get out of here. Just find your own stuff. That's what I think. But if you
pay homage to geniuses,
like I said, if you did, but if you did,
Royer.
if you did want to bring something new, you have to have one in the chamber ready to go, something that nobody else is doing, and that's my stance.
Well, that's what Brady Collins is for.
I think there are two polar opposite but equally compelling arguments here. One, I agree kind of with where Dave is thinking that is a 2021 Bearcats staple, and that continuing to carry it on is carrying that team on the back of everybody's going to think of 2021 when Pump It Up comes on, right?
Yes.
I also see the argument that this has the chance to become Cincinnati's thing. They started it. Everybody else copied it, but it originated in Cincinnati. It caught on in Cincinnati, and it is a Cincinnati's thing. Pump It Up. So I think there are definitely two sides to it that I see. I think I agree with I would probably put it down. And maybe it's something in 3-4 years that you go back to as honoring UC traditions.
Well, I just thought of something.
Okay. I made such a good point. You thought of something.
Yes. What if instead of using it at the same level that you use it, what if it became the third quarter, fourth quarter song?
I agree with that. I don't want to use it as the kickoff song anymore. I would much rather replace the shout with Pump It Up.
If it means getting rid of shout, I'm all for all of this.
See, I love shout.
That's because you're an old soul.
I am.
Brady already has a song, Jeff, in the chamber.
Yeah,
I won't give that away.
It's not for me or anyone else to pick. I mean, this is what they do. The players or the strength staff or whoever, they know it's for the players. So it's the pulse of the players. So the song would come from them, and we either as fans catch on and like it, or we don't. But it doesn't really matter to me what the exact song is. I'm just saying, my kid loves it, so we can put it on in the car and it's fun. But last year we would listen to it nonstop because it's you're 6-0 and it's Thursday and you're God, why isn't Saturday here yet? So you put that on and it just makes you happy and you dance around for 2.5 minutes or whatever. And then, it's a build up every week as they kept winning and winning, and it became such a thing and louder and louder at the games. And now it just it's just part of last year to me.
Yeah. So, I would prefer it as a end of third into fourth quarter staple. That is okay, we started this, we created this. Let's let it live in perpetuity there. And then you find a new kickoff theme song for the team.
I'm with Jeff. Bar mitzvahs and weddings for sure. Leave shout there.
Jeff, can you join us for a minute? If Aaron sends you an invite,
I'll shoot him a link if he's available.
I don't know if you're available or not, so I don't want to like put you on the spot. If not, not a big deal. But I'd love for you to join us for a minute, because I want to talk some shop here at this point of the podcast. We still got a lot more to get to. This is probably going to be a fairly long one because we haven't. Yes, okay. I want to talk shop a little bit. We're making some moves here at Bearcat Journal, and we got
So when we were at the last fan council, they were talking about. I can talk about this because it's not anything like secrets or anything. We were talking about like revenue streams and like if we did locker room tours or get to go on the field pregame. Like, would you pay for that? How much would you pay? Like things like that, experiential type shit. And I said, what if you could pay, like they had a TouchTunes and you could pay to pick songs that got played during the game, or
that would defeat hiring a DJ.
Well, if they made like thousands of dollars off of me after drinking 12 beers, and I'm like, I just want to pick all the music for today's game, I think it would be worth it. Or you let the players. I said, what about if you let the players pick the playlist, and each like position group got a quarter or something, and they picked all the music for that quarter. Or you just raffled off. Someone got to be the DJ for the game. I feel like that would be fun. Someone would pay a lot of money to be able to do that.
Yeah, but you'd also end up with somebody that you don't want in any type of capacity in charge.
Maybe you have some guardrails. I just want to have 15 beers and play my music the whole time.
I feel like some of these ideas you've had while drinking 15 beers.
Maybe.
Jeff's here, though, by the way.
Hey, guys.
What's
Put
up?
shout down immediately.
Shout it down.
Shout it down. I'm over shout. I don't love shout. To me is equally as corny as Pitt doing hang on salute.
All right, I will say this. I do enjoy it. I would have no problem if they went in a different direction. That said, Mike Warren's run at the last play of the third quarter against UCF going into shout is the loudest Nippert Stadium has ever been.
Sounds about right.
I don't know. I think didn't they say that the Nippert sound record was broken on the first touchdown play of last year?
The Miami game?
Yeah.
Maybe, but man, all I know is when he had that run and then it went right into shout, like to me that was like the loudest. I
get that the noise level for that plus like the feeling of that probably makes that moment obviously bigger than a touchdown pass against
if you got
Miami,
rid of it, like I don't think they're getting a bunch of emails like I'm giving away my season tickets because you got a new fourth quarter song.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm sure someone would. That'd be funny.
Well, somebody's going to complain about something no matter what you do.
Well, of course.
Marcus, thank you for the donation. We certainly appreciate it.
Just like Anthony talking about how with the volume in the stadium, he gets competing emails about that it's not loud enough or it's too loud.
Right.
So
we will get to Jeff here in just a second, and we'll get to this topic soon as well. I do have it confirmed, as we reported on the board earlier today, and was promptly stolen by a pretender wannabe to Bearcat Journal. Come get some. Freshman quarterback Luther Richesson has entered the transfer portal, officially confirmed by Bearcat Journal. Again, I was told I wasn't allowed to get into a Twitter fight about it, so fine. I'll just talk about it on the podcast.
Here we are.
Anyhow, Dave, Jeff, I'll let you two do this.
Did that work?
what do you want me to do?
Yeah, it's your show. I don't have anything to do with this. This is you and Jeff.
All right,
I'm providing the airwaves.
What was it? A couple? Was it like a couple weeks ago? 2-3 weeks ago?
Yep.
Threw out on the Twitter. What are your thoughts about a I don't even know if I said Sunday show at that point, but a kind of like a recap show where we talked about the game, we talked about college football, we talked,
We've got a lot of prominent Bearcats in the NFL now.
exactly. That one came into the mention. So the response was through the roof. So I was not expecting that, but I felt that there was an empty space in just a quick, immediate reaction to that Saturday or that whatever week's game. So we've gone, not gone back and forth, but had some time to discuss things, and excited to announce that starting, what is that, September 4th? Is that the Sunday after the Arkansas game?
Yep.
Bearcat Brunch will be hitting the BCJ airwaves with myself and Jeff manning the show. We're going to be talking almost exclusively Bearcats, reaction to the game, college football. We're not going to go conference by conference, but, I watch a ton of it. So we'll hit on things that impact UC, things that impact the national scene, things that caught our attention. We will absolutely be looking forward and looking back at, Bearcat performances in the NFL now that there are going to be an even greater number that are, impacting games. Also want to announce that we have a title sponsor, Royal Links Golf Tours. Now you might say, well, what is Royal Links Golf Tours? Well, one, Royal Links Golf Tours is owned and operated by a former Bearcat, Jeff Bartholomew. Two, his co-owner is none other than former quarterback Hayden Moore. Jeff is his father-in-law. They put together, exclusive golf trips to mainly the British Isles, Scotland, Ireland, and UK. Jeff has played every British Open course, which is 14. He's been over there over 20 times, played close to 200 rounds over there. I actually have a trip in the works with a buddy of mine to go over there, and just kind of this was going on before we even came up with this idea of a new podcast. And I reached out to him and I was like, obviously there's some connections. Would you be interested in sponsoring? They're going to do it. Awesome. Glad to have them on. We're going to, there is a good chance when his schedule allows that we might have Hayden Moore as a guest on the Bearcat Brunch podcast, maybe once a month, something along those lines. So, just want to let everybody know what kind of a little bit of what to expect, and excited to have Jeff joining. So, what are your thoughts, Jeff?
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. Chad brought it up, kind of surprised me with it. Aaron was said he already had a little knowledge that Chad was going to come ask me. To be the second string pick behind your dad, I'm all right with that.
Well, you would definitely be the first string pick to me over him.
Well, I'm just really excited about it. I know that Chad has been wanting to kind of get some more content out there, and if people want to listen on Mondays and throughout the week for things that are coming up, and then kind of jump in Sunday morning if they're not hungover too much from winning Bearcat games, to slide in and listen to what we have to say for an hour or so. It's going to be excellent. I'm really happy about joining this team here.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Darren asked, where can we find more info? I mean, we've got already people looking for golf trips. RoyalLinksGolfTours.com. Very simple. We'll obviously have logos and ad reads, and we'll get we'll have all that info similar to our other shows once that gets rolling. But yeah, there's a kind of a inquiry form right on the website. Fill out what you're looking for. I mean, they have trips that are kind of already built, or do what I did, and we kind of just built our own and met with Jeff and Hayden to talk through kind of the details of it. So looking in a couple of years, and wild circumstance, at Higher Ground, or no, yes, at Higher Ground last Tuesday, group of us were talking about the new podcast and the sponsorship, and mentioned that I was going, and Dan Horde goes, "Can I go?" And I'm like, well, yeah, sure. He's like, "When are you going?" I'm like, "May of 2024. He's like, "Well, that actually works perfect for me." And he's
That's
like,
awesome.
he's like, "I went 20 years ago, and I'm been trying to go back and trying to find guys to go." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, here." I pulled up my phone. I was like, "Here's our itinerary," and I'm like, "It's only 2 of us right now, so yeah, if you want to go, let's go." And I'm not thinking anything of it. And like 2 hours later, I'm standing by myself on the other side of the field, and he comes up and he's like, "I can't stop thinking about this golf trip."
Dude,
I'm like, "Dan,
that's
you're
like a
more
double
than-"
bucket list.
I'm like, you're more than welcome to go, man. You got a year to figure it out. You got to pay half a year in advance, but yeah, absolutely. We get some primo Bearcat Journal content, when we're out in Scotland with none other than the voice of the Bearcats. I mean,
Let's not forget the important part. He also said, "Can I bring someone?"
Yeah.
And then mentioned he didn't list a name, but he said if he brought someone, it would be someone like significant.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Well, he said it would be someone that you would want on the trip, basically.
Like Jim Herman.
Oh, dude,
don't know.
so I work with Jim Herman's aunt. So
Okay.
I love golf. I love golf. Like going over there would be like a bucket list kind of trip for me. And that guy's played over 200 courses. Do you know what courses you're gonna play over there? Like, is that like set in stone yet?
We have pretty much kind of routed the whole thing out. We're looking at obviously the old course. We're kind of going between St. Andrews and East Lothian, which is like by Edinburgh. And so obviously going to try to get out on the old course. Definitely that. We're looking at West Berwick or West Berwick. I should say I pronounced that wrong. West Berwick, Ely, Dumbarnie, which I guess is a new course that was built during COVID, and very close to St. Andrews. Rave reviews. Jeff's played it already. Hayden's played it. We're cramming a lot of golf. Like the buddy of mine that is going, we're going and we're going to get our fill, and we're gonna, we're going over there probably one time. We're gonna try to squeeze in as much as possible. But
well, hopefully London Heathrow gets like the whole issue with losing everybody's bags.
Yeah, hopefully the bag issue is not a problem in 2 more years.
Right. Yeah. You might just need ship sticks or whatever that.
Well, we talked about that with them, and they're like, "Yeah, you can do that, but it's like $700."
Oh. Yeah, I guess the baggage fee is probably significantly cheaper than that.
Yeah, so I guess you take your chances that your club show up, but yeah, I mean, it was I love golf, and then to have 2 Bearcats, one being a former player, I mean, the partnership just made too much sense, and I'm super thrilled that they are able to join us and help us out, and super thrilled to have the show with you and to kind of just talk more football, because that was kind of the point of this whole thing is, right, wrong, and different. The Bengals, especially now, they're going to dominate the airwaves, especially when the season starts. But there is a gaping hole of like legitimate post-game type of in-depth conversation, and it just doesn't carry as well when when Chad and I do our thing on either a Wednesday or Thursday during the season. Like, there's just too much airtime in between. Like, what are we going to go back and talk about 5 days after the fact? So
this is a preview. This is a preview show,
right? We're gonna,
you know what I mean?
We're gonna keep it. We're gonna try to keep it very regimented, so everybody knows exactly. We haven't decided yet. Like 9 to 10:30, 9:30 to 11, something like that. Not going to run into the Bengals pregame. You're going to get it on all the same platforms and streams, but we want you guys to know, just like our other shows, like Sunday morning this time, you can count on this show being Bearcat Brunch being on Twitter, on the website, and make it a spot to go to catch up on everything that happened around college football from the weekend before.
And then we can throw a little Bengals preview in at the end.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit. It's not going to be the
meat and potatoes.
The meat and potatoes, all the main topics, segment A, B, C, however you want.
Bengals are going to be dessert.
Right.
Yeah.
Cheesecake, if you will. The cheesecake on the brunch.
The cheesecake at the end of the brunch.
The chocolate fountain.
And I want everybody to know this to make a lot of people happy. I will not be involved. We are going to have content on this channel that I will not have anything to do with. I made that clear to Dave when he suggested it to me. No, this is you. This is your baby. I'm not waking up at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning to talk to you after working usually until like 2, 3 o'clock, getting content up on this website.
Am I producing?
Did you see his face?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Hey, new dad.
You got a 3 week. You're going to be up.
You have no schedule anymore. It's not like you're going to be.
I don't sleep anymore.
There's no way you're even asleep at that time.
These aren't shadows anymore. Like I know the lighting's not great here, but these aren't shadows. These are actually bags. It's fine.
Yeah, it's yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously everybody that's listened to this for any period of time knows how much I love college football. Love talking about it. And we just felt that the Bearcats deserved more
coverage.
Attention
Yep.
in this type of space than they currently get, and hopefully people like it and tune in, and it's a success. And we'll hopefully we have a fun and exciting season to talk about. I mean, I'm not sure how much fun it would have been to have this show 2017, 2016. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that.
Well, nobody was worried about a gap in coverage at that time.
So,
well, that's kind of like Aaron and I, and Aaron and Dave and I have all talked about this. There are gaps in this market for Cincinnati coverage as Cincinnati gets ready to go to the Big 12. And if there are gaps, we want to fill them. We have the base, we have the attention of people that care and give a shit about UC sports, and we want to give you every possible way to consume that. And I always, and the brunch thing is really apropos here, Dave, because I look at what we're doing as like a menu. The menu includes articles on the website. The menu includes insider analysis on the message boards. The menu includes podcasts, pregame podcasts, postgame podcasts, recap podcasts,
Live watch parties,
former player podcasts.
Like if it's there to be done, and I appreciate you jumping in, Aaron, because you and I have really talked a lot about this over the past couple months. We want to fill that space. And I think that space on Sunday mornings is phenomenal. Hey! Hey!
Who are we yelling at?
Jeff's kid.
Jeff's kid.
Oh.
She's in the background there. Can you see her?
I was looking at a different screen at the time. So I was like, hey, what?
But I personally I wanted Dave's dad. That's no offense to you, Jeff, but Dave's dad cracks me up. He is so funny.
Yeah, everybody else thinks he's hilarious until you
none was taken.
Until you put him on a podcast for an hour and he pisses you off.
But as soon as Dave's dad wasn't an option, I was like, you know what? I think Jeff, because Jeff and I, if you watch PTP, and you should, pardon the punctuation, Tuesday nights, 9:15 on the Pardon the Punctuation YouTube channel. I think Jeff and I have had some outstanding back and forth about UC athletics. Like that kind of, when we talk UC, like Aaron and I do it so much And Dave and I do it so much that to me, it was always refreshing to have Jeff and your perspective added as a perspective that we didn't have really on the network. So when this came up with Dave, I was like, I think you and Jeff would be awesome together because I think your personalities will play off each other really well. I think the content will be excellent. So I'm really excited about this Sunday show. And I'm really excited to watch it Sunday afternoon at like 3:00. Jeff, you got to do dad things. You can go, brother.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. And if everybody wants to follow me, look, that's my Twitter.
That's him at CincyFan500. Jeff Howell. We will definitely we'll be promoting the shit out of it on Twitter as we lead up to September 3rd. And you're more than welcome. The 26th, next Friday, Holy Grail, Jeff. If you want to stop down for the preseason happy hour, it's early enough. If you have to, you can bring the family, you can bring the kids, and hang out at Holy Grail for a little bit and just rub elbows with the BCJ throng that is going to be there in full force, right, guys?
Yay.
Right?
Yeah.
Except
Dave
you guys and Aaron.
Except me.
All right, thanks, man.
I got to get my last swings in before the football season starts because I'm not getting. I'm not getting much golf in with Saturdays and now having a show on Sunday. So
well, this wasn't exactly something that was like planned months ago. It was just something like last week that I
Right.
was like, you know what, we should do a little something, and you had already had a trip planned. So, but we also have more news. We have more news, Aaron and Dave.
More?
We have added a new member to the team. People were asking for more outlets, for a little more diversity, for a little more expansion in the BCJ brand. And as of tonight, I have started a TikTok for Bearcat Journal. You can find it on TikTok, tiktok.com/Bearcat Journal. That is officially started. And we have hired someone to run the TikTok. And her name is Reagan Yoakum. And she used to have a brother that played baseball at Cincinnati. She interned at Cincinnati while she was a student in the video department. She worked last year covering Alabama football. And she is now back in the Queen City. You can find her at Reagan Yoakum, REGANYOAK. I don't want to screw this up. YOAKAM. Reagan Yoakum. REGANYOAKAM. Put a thing up, Aaron, down at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Do your job, Aaron.
I mean, he wasn't expecting that.
I know.
Reagan is very good at produced video, short form produced video content. And that is something we are not good at here. We are not good at short form anything.
We missed it by like a decade.
I'm too old for that.
Right. We are long form.
Here's my question.
We started the nightcap, Dave. We started the nightcap as like an 8 to 10 minute thing.
Now it's like, if you go under 20, I'm impressed.
20 is like we're trying to do 20.
It's because of camp, man. Like there's so much to squeeze in daily on camp. Like,
yeah, I mean we're trying to expand. We're trying to, get hip with it, if you will.
Right. Well, like
I mean, you could have gone with your marks getting younger and hipper.
Cooler.
We are doing that as we go into the Big 12. We are getting younger and hipper. Reagan came out to camp today. We had a good vibe. I like she was a little quiet at first, but then as the day got going, she started cracking some jokes. She showed a little sarcasm. I was like, all right, you're going to fit in great here. Like this is going to work. She said she grew up watching football. She did 3 things. This is what she told me. And she's getting mad at me probably for saying this without her here. We're going to have her on maybe on the BBP either this week or on something coming up here soon. She did 3 things with her dad growing up. She watched baseball, she watched football, and she watched cooking shows. Like that's how they connected. That's how they related. And I'm like, you're going to fit in great.
Well, yeah, you and I are good at two of those things.
So I'm really, really excited to have Reagan jump on board. We're going to start clipping stuff from the podcast, putting that on the TikTok. I'm going to work on reviving the Instagram. And if not, we're going to start a new one that'll be dedicated strictly to the current Bearcat stuff. We're going to clip the podcast, put them on there, clip the nightcaps, put them on there. And then Reagan is going to have her own show that her, Aaron, and I are going to start developing here very soon. The TikTok name is Bearcat Journal. Just TikTok.com/Bearcat Journal. And you'll be able to find it there. I started it tonight. We should be good to go on that. And I'm excited, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this market that's not being done by any of the independent outlets. And if nobody else is going to do it, damn it, we're going to do it because there's money to be made. And I like making money, and I like making you guys money. And I want to take this thing to the point where, like, this is really the thing. A lot of these sites have 3, 4, 5 full-time employees that this is what they do. And we have talked about this for a long time, getting there. The membership base at Bearcat Journal has provided like that base for us to start pushing for that. Now, if we monetize YouTube and we monetize TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, now I can start paying everybody and get to the point where all of us are doing this full time. And I know for me, that would be heaven. I think for you guys, that would also be as good as it gets, getting to do this like as your full-time jobs every day.
Yeah, we would need to negotiate a contract, get my lawyer involved.
Jesus Christ. Maybe I'll find somebody to replace Dave. It's fine. If next season Dave's holding out at the start of camp, you guys know what has happened. I'm just letting you know now.
I wouldn't hold it. I'm a hold in.
Sounds about right.
I do want to say Darren asked a question that I think some people have had before, and I just want to get to. He asked about a pregame show, or something with experts. He's throwing around that term real loosely.
Yeah.
But it is difficult for us on several levels. One, Chad goes into the game fairly early for work purposes. So it wouldn't be like
Brent and I as well.
And Brent and Aaron. So it wouldn't be like we wouldn't be leading up to the game. It would have to end a fairly decent amount of time prior to the game. And for me personally, I'm tailgating and I don't have any interest in doing a show before the game because I'm drinking beer and taking Jello shots.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit, unfortunately, everything that we have going on. Like, peel back the curtain. Recruits are allowed inside Nippert Stadium an hour and a half before kickoff. We need to be there for that. Like, we need to be kind of in the mix on what is going on down on the field an hour and a half before kickoff. The more stuff we do that pulls us away from that, the less we're able to do the way that we've always kind of done the job and build relationships. And like, if you want to know why the interviews that we do are often so good and we get more impact and more out of those conversations than most, it's because of the relationships we build throughout the process. I mean, I go back to how funny was it, Aaron, when Troy Copain was like, "No, I thought you were the feds." That's maybe my favorite line in BCJ history. Because I'm sure that came from, like, he saw me hanging out with the coaches, and then he saw me being around the players, building that rapport with the players so that we could get the best content. And he saw me as like a double agent.
You're like,
Until
you're
he got to know me.
you're gonna tell Mick what I'm telling you.
Right. Until he got to know me, like, later on, and then everything was fine. Am I part of the show on Short Vine? Yes, I've committed to the first half hour of the show on Short Vine. That's a show that starts 3 hours before kickoff. I've committed to the first half hour there, and then I've got to get on and start doing the other stuff that we do.
By get on, he means come to my tailgate.
I don't even know that I'm gonna have time to stop by, Dave.
I know.
I want to protect that sanctity because, we like Action Cookbook stopped by the podcast, and Tennessee Bearcats stopped by, not the podcast, but the tailgate. Tennessee Bearcats stopped by the tailgate. Like, we've made a lot of great relationships and met a lot of cool people. Tobler has a spot right next to you guys.
Keith comes by the tailgate every Saturday.
Right. Like, there's a lot of things that are beneficial to the BCJ community from being able to stop by your tailgate, even if it's a half hour, 45 minutes. Like, that stuff's important to what we do. And then getting in the stadium is important to what we do. So a pregame show just is so hard. It's hard. It's hard for the direction of like the way we've done things.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I wanted to show everybody. I wanted to get your reaction, Dave. I don't think you've seen this yet. Uh-oh.
When does the Bearcat Journal OnlyFans page start?
I've been trying to get Kelly into like selling some feet pics and
On that note,
she hasn't been very hip to the idea.
I can't understand why not.
I know some of the Barstool girls have started doing it, and they jumped up to like 800.
Yeah, because there's a lot of just gross, disgusting men out there.
Yeah, and I'm okay with taking their money.
I don't think we're getting the kind of money they're getting.
Love all the content additions. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Darren. Look, man, again, like, if you're going into a big-time league, there's a lot of things that happen in those big-time leagues. Like, they have every avenue, every base covered. Why can't we do that? Why not?
Yeah.
All right. I do have to get up in the morning, so
What did you want to show me?
my inbox is not loading on my Gmail.
Oh, okay.
I'm ordering. I've been worried about this background here, and I thought I was going to get one of the lockers.
Oh, okay.
But I've been informed those 2 demo lockers that didn't go into the project are going to be used for like their recruiting pitch, like where the pictures are taken. So I'm not going to get one of those. So I had to pivot, and I pivoted to a neon sign.
Oh, like
the BCJ logo,
like a live nudes sign.
No.
From Billy Madison or from Big Daddy?
It's this right here.
Yes.
It's this. But I'm going to put it right here above me, or at least next to me. And I was going to show you, I've been working with a neon light company. Ooh, finally, here we go. I've been working with a neon light company, and I wanted to get your reaction to what they sent me as the mock-up for what the neon sign would look like. What do you think?
Oh, that's fire.
I know, it looks pretty fucking sweet, doesn't
But
it?
are you gonna have to like broadcast in dark so you can see it?
No, I'm wondering if I might have to like build out a frame for it.
Yeah.
That's the black background. But I think the red should show up pretty good behind me. The white might be a little bit of an issue. So I might have to get a mount, like a mount for it. It's like 20 inches by 20 inches.
Yeah.
So I might have to do some finagling once we get it here. But I think that in and of itself is pretty damn sweet. I don't think the guy that owns this house would be too happy with me painting this wall behind me black.
Probably not.
But anyhow, fill it with black acrylic. Yeah, that might cost a lot more than I want to spend. Dave, golf sponsor and talk should blend into UC golf team talk.
Hey man, you're preaching to the choir. I've been wanting to have Coach Martin on for a long time.
Dave, you know I'm super tight with Doug, right? Like we can have Doug on anytime we want.
In the summer, get him on the damn show.
I mean, we could get him on. We could maybe get him to be so Jeff's gonna have some responsibilities where there will be occasionally he will not be able to be here. Maybe we have Doug co-host the show.
So I just want to drop this in here. Pete Thamel released an article 2 hours ago. Probably going to be a topic that we discuss also on the nightcap, at least for a bit of it. College Football Playoffs Board discusses potential of restructuring how college football is governed, sources say. Basically breaking football away from the NCAA and the CFP running it.
Ending the current format of the playoffs sooner because they finally realized how much money they're leaving on the table by having a 4-team playoff for another 4 damn years.
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe you might want to discuss this as it's breaking news rather than wait a week.
But Dave, go ahead. Like, or do we need to have our realignment expert, or is this not like realignment?
No, I don't think this is realignment based. I mean, this has been a thing that's been. I mean, it seemed like it was a very informal, very just like not random, but like discussion. I'm still not convinced that there's going to be any breaking away because who then gets designated as the bad guy? Are there just no rules? So no one has to police anybody?
Right.
Because the NCAA is the perfect fall guy. Like,
that's what I've always said.
They minimally, police the state, so to speak. The only people that ever get in trouble are the ones that actually talk to them. If you just say, like, we're not talking to you because former players and former coaches they can't subpoena you. Like, they're under no laws or rules to talk to them and tell them anything that has gone on. So, like, who becomes that person if they break? I guess the NCAA has no bearing on the college football playoff anyway. So, like, who are you breaking away from in that regard? You're not breaking away from anybody. It's not like they had their governance or their bylaws are over the sport from a playoff standpoint the way it is for a basketball playoff. So I mean, I saw it. I didn't read it. I didn't have time today. So I hope I'm not speaking things that are untrue or have already been debunked or whatever. But I would just need to get way more info on what that truly means. Like, are you making up all of your own rules when it comes to transfers, NIL, recruiting windows? Like, are you owning all of it? And then if you are, like, who's in charge? Who is making sure that these schools adhere to these rules?
Right. That's the thing I've always said about, like, why would you break away from the NCAA? They are the perfect foil. They are, like, it is exactly what you want, especially in football, where, again, the NCAA gets none of the money. None. $0.0. All of the money goes to the conferences. All of the money goes to the schools. None of the money goes to the NCAA. At least in basketball and in baseball, they are NCAA-sanctioned tournaments. And the NCAA makes money off of those tournaments. That's how the NCAA survives. But when it comes to football, there is no point. This is why it's probably going to happen. It makes absolutely no sense to break away from the NCAA. None.
Like, why do you want the responsibility of
governing
all of that back channel, all of that
Yeah.
behind the scenes shit that like who's signing up for that? Everybody has seen how Mark Emmert has been treated and talked about, and how the NCAA is looked at as like, who wants that responsibility? Like, you think some conference commissioner or some AD is going to sign up for that? To now be in
the
charge
there
of,
being Mark Emmert is terrible at the job.
but is he terrible at the job, or is the job set up for no matter who's in this position to be terrible at it?
I mean, I think there are people that could be good at it.
Like under the current constraints and because what I could see happening, the reason that this is all happening is because they don't want to be governed under the same rules as like FCS, Division II, Division III. Like, it should be its own entity, but I think it should be its own entity under the NCAA umbrella, if that's even possible, if that even makes sense. Because, like, you talk about the divide between the SEC and the American, there's just as much of a divide between the American and other FBS conferences, or FBS and FCS, and they're all governed under the same thing.
Sure.
The transfer windows are the same. The eligibility things are the same. Like, we look at it as like we're trying to compete for a national championship, but there are low-level FBS programs that are just taking hordes of FCS transfers.
Yeah. Sure.
So, I mean, the bigger one to me is the whole idea that they might actually finally realize that they need to change the playoff before 2026. Because I think that is something that can legitimately happen, and I've heard it mentioned more than a time or two over the last couple months, and now obviously Pete's talking about it, and they're talking about it because, like, with the Big Ten going heavy with Fox, why would you just let a single entity own those rights for another 4 years? Like, come up with a new plan, break the structure, and allow everybody to bid on it.
Right.
Like, you're just losing so much money by just being like, yeah, we're just going to do this 4-team thing on ESPN for the next 4 years. And then we'll figure out the format in 2026.
Right.
We'll just wait 4 years to have NBC or CBS or whoever, Fox. I mean, you don't think Fox wants a piece of the playoff? They're spending how much money with the Big Ten? There's going to be a Big Ten team in the playoff more times than not. Like, you don't think they want, like, that's the thing is you don't see, like, ESPN does it, but like there is no mention of the playoff, no run up to the playoff, no advertising, no propaganda around the playoff on any of these other channels because they don't own any rights. Why would they talk about it? They're just driving you to this other channel. And I think Kevin Warren is a huge driver in this, coming from the NFL, where everybody touches a little piece of the NFL playoffs. And so the NFL playoffs are being talked about on every channel all the time.
Right.
And so the college football playoff and the conferences are missing out on what I think is a huge opportunity to have every channel talking about it, because even if they could just get one first-round game or two first-round games, like, they're going to spend dollars to promote it.
Yep. That's what this all comes down to. Money, as always.
For sure.
And that's why I don't, that goes back to why I don't, I mean, unless they really want, like, unless the haves really have decided, not only do we want all the football money, but we also want the NCAA tournament money, and we're just going to do our own thing and ruin the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's the one Greg Sankey's talking about.
Right. That's where, and that's where you have to be concerned, right? Like, if Greg Sankey's talking about it, guess who kind of is like the godfather of everything right now, because he's kind of been in the job longer than the rest of these guys.
And if Greg Sankey's talking about it, he's doing the talking for the Big Ten as well.
Yeah, of course. Lastly, and I just don't think we're going to get to higher ground today.
No, we've gone 2 hours and haven't talked any
football yet.
Football
Any real
yet.
football yet. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. For everybody, for all the stick to sports people, I'm sorry about tonight. There was a lot of sports in Anthony DeFino, but it was, it was stuff that impacts your fan experience at games. It impacts what you do as fans in and around supporting the program. So that was sports. The Bearcat Journal stuff. Look, we're excited about the changes that we're adding, the new things that I don't even want to say new direction, because we're still going to be maintaining the old direction. That's Dave. Again, that's what frustrates me about, like, when people complain about you guys are doing too much. Okay, if you go to a restaurant and you order off the menu, there's some things you don't order.
You
It's
don't
okay.
right, like you don't have to. Like, we appreciate it, but like you don't have to, and we don't expect you to consume every single thing that we do. Like, that's just not how it works. But like, and like, it does. I don't want to come off as like egotistical or anything, but like, I'm sure there are people that are members that don't care or enjoy hearing what I have to say, and then there are others that do, and that doesn't offend me or bother me. But like, we're gonna keep expanding and have offerings, and
Yes.
if you consume it all, awesome. If you don't have time to, and you only listen to one podcast, we still want to be the place that you come to listen to that one podcast about UC sports.
Or if you just read the articles, we're still going to keep pumping out a ton of articles on Bearcat Journal. That has never slowed down. That's what's crazy to me about, like, you're doing too much. We're still doing what we used to be doing. We've just added a bunch of other things on top of that. I promise.
I do want to ask you a question about something you did today.
Okay. Go ahead. We'll do that before we get into Luther.
The locker room.
Yeah.
What were your? We've seen this stuff on Twitter and whatnot, but what were your thoughts?
It looks great, and I think for what it now is, this is what I think people need to remember. This is, after this year and next, going to just be the game day locker room. They are going to be moving into the indoor practice facility, which will house the locker room, the player lounges, the dining area, the fuel stage. Like, that's where they're going to spend their day-to-day from here on out, is at the indoor practice facility. And then the locker room that we saw today is going to be where they reside on game day. It is sharp.
Yeah, so it'll be like old school when they went up the stairs at halftime instead of going underneath the lair.
Yeah. And it is sharp. It is well done. It's the design, I think, is excellent. I think the graphics and the way that they incorporated everything, the way they incorporated CPAWs and the way they incorporated Bearcats, and just the overall feel of it is very clean. I was really impressed by it.
Is it a total finished product, or is there other things that they're still going to be little pieces?
That's pretty much the finished product for the game day locker room.
Graphics here and there and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, they're always going to be changing graphics and updating. Like, if there's 5 or 6 guys that make the NFL next year, guess what? Those guys are going to be on the walls.
Right. I just didn't know if there were like wall spaces that were still getting more.
No, everything was
things.
Everything was done. Tobes and his crew did an awesome job. I think that matters, man. I think that mattered that it was Zach Tobler that was in charge of the project, because he gets it. Like, he's lived it. He's been there. He knows how important that stuff is to players, right? Like, he knows how outdated those facilities were that he lived in for 3+ years. I just think they did it right. Here's the tour. If you want the tour from my from my Twitter feed earlier today. That's pretty damn sharp, man.
Oh yeah.
There's Justin. Hey, Justin.
So
There's Tobes.
An additional
little guest appearance from Tobes.
Additional 2,000 square feet, 120 custom lockers, a hype tunnel with the sun. We saw if you saw it at the Cincinnati Bearcat lighting on the wall, changes color, new sound system, fuel station.
Over there to the right, that's where the hype tunnel is, and they can change the color on all of that. Tobes gave us an experience on changing the lights and stuff during the thing.
My favorite feature of the whole locker room has to be the fact that there's a vacuum system in the lockers
to make it not smell like a locker room.
That pushes air from the bottom of the locker up through the locker, and it's vacuumed out of the top of the locker into a vent system.
Sucks the moisture out of the equipment.
Well, and the smell.
Yeah, well, if you don't have any moisture, you don't have any smell.
Well, fair enough.
I mean, I guess the thing that, like, and it shouldn't shock me, I guess the thing that shocked me is how many lockers there's John Cunningham. How many lockers are 120?
It's a lot of lockers.
It's a lot of lockers. And when you do it at this scale where they actually have their own space, it takes up a lot of room.
No, I mean, just
There's
like,
the fuel station.
We're just now, and this, I mean, we're just now coming into like the new age of lock. Like some of these other teams' lockers, I mean, they have zero gravity chairs. I mean, an insane amount of stuff. And this is awesome, but it just kind of shows you that, like, even how far behind we were when it came to, and what's a locker room? You're in there, but it's like, that's where the guys hang out. It's where they get ready. Yeah. It's where, it matters. And, you're not going to pick a school based on that, but like, it's hard to imagine that the old wooden lockers with a stool and
right.
Was not people were just like, this isn't this is going to make an impact.
Yeah, when you take a kid on this tour, and there's the hype tunnel, that's what we were talking about. That's where that goes straight out to the field. Right there, it goes down the steps and straight out to the field. That's where the team now is going to get hyped before they come out on game day. And there's apparently a professional high-grade sound system and lighting that is going to sync up to the music. And the guys are going to be able to be in that tunnel and then a covered tunnel down the steps that leads to them running out onto the field.
I hope they do. Like a lot of schools I've seen have done kind of like where they videotape. It's like live as like you're in the stadium, the game starting like on the Jumbotron. It is live as the players are like in the hype tunnel and going out of the tunnel, going down the stairs. So I hope they are able to, with Eichel and his team, like able to kind of like pipe that into the youth, because I think that would be cool. And you hear the music that's in there, or you're playing the same music in the stadium as they're hearing in there, and you see everybody as they're actually coming out and everything. One thing I noticed in John Cunningham's comments, and maybe I'm just missing something, but he put a price tag on the indoor practice facility performance center that was higher than I thought. We've talked about the Day One Ready campaign being $100 million. Today he said that the indoor facility has a price tag of $100 million.
Well, you're also dealing with exponential increases in construction, and
right, but we were talking about that being included in like that 70 number that ish. So I put on Twitter what that looks like for Auburn right now, as they're in the process of building one that I think tapped out at like around 92 or something. Buddy, like that is $100 million facility is there's going to be some fun bells and whistles on that bad boy.
Right.
So I know some pictures maybe leaked of.
Well, I don't think they leaked, whatever you want to call it.
Very much so, just like
they're concept art.
Right. It's not. It might look like that. It might not look anything like that.
I do think we'll see the windows.
Oh, I want
that
you got to have like
separate-
a lot of glass.
I think you're going to see the windows that separate the performance center from the practice field. Like, I do think you're going to see that element, which we saw in those pictures, because it makes sense. Like, why would you close off with drywall
No.
the practice facility? That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. That's dumb. From what I heard, like, how many stories is the performance center is kind of one of the things that's being finalized right now as they're working on getting the renderings. Is it going to be 2? Is it going to be 3? How do those play out? Like, what goes where? They're down to, from what I understand, kind of the final details and how this thing is going to look. But I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to be state of the art. I think it's going to be something that everybody's talking about when not only the actual like professional renderings are released, but when it's done and we get to walk in that thing for the first time and we go, oh my God, this is incredible.
I mean, it's the outside of a arena or stadium. It's the biggest, it's
wow factor. Yeah.
Right. The Lindner Center. I mean, that's the only other thing you could compare it to. And I know, there's talks about, freshening up, especially the fourth floor of the Lindner. I mean,
well, when football moves out of the Lindner Center and moves into the indoor practice facility, you're going to have a crap ton of space in the Lindner Center that's now available.
I mean, even like when you come in,
yeah,
like that hasn't been touched since it was built. I mean,
well, there were some things today in the.
Everybody remembers that's been in that.
I think are going to be pretty cool.
That's been in there. Everybody remembers how cool it was, like that they had the little TVs playing, like that was 20. It was like 20 something years ago. There's not some of those spots don't even have TVs in them anymore.
Right.
So it's like all these things are kind of happening at the same time, and I think people are going to be, we're always excited, but like that's going to get a total refresh. I mean, yes, where the coaches and the offices are, but like we don't see that.
Right.
But like the whole fourth floor when you come into the Lindner Center is going to get a refresh. There's going to be all sorts of different things that go.
Like I said, there was some stuff today that was being worked on that I can't get into yet. But next time I'm in the Lindner Center, when it's done, I'll take pictures and show you guys. I think it's going to be pretty cool. The other big thing today, Dave, we've got to speak on it. Luther Richesson has entered the transfer portal. The Luther Richesson experiment lasted, I think, like 2 months and 10 days. I think it's pretty clear. He thought at least the people in his support system believed that he was going to come into Cincinnati and be Cincinnati's starting quarterback at Fayetteville on September 3rd.
I guess my question is, like, why would they think that?
Well, they've trained him. The people around him have trained him to be, a quarterback robot, right? From the time he was young.
I mean, like, even if
that's your destiny,
quarterback robot, like, I can pretty much guarantee that nothing along those lines was intimated to him at any point.
Never.
By
no
Luke,
chance.
No
chance.
Mike Denbrock, by Gino Goodell. Like, there is no way.
So here was always my thing, Dave, and we talked about this a lot. When he graduated from Lipscomb Academy early, and instead of coming to Cincinnati and entering yourself into the quarterback picture in spring football, he decided to go work out with his dad in Arizona and decided to show up in Cincinnati in June and thought that, or the people around him believed that 10 days of camp were going to be enough for him to be QB1. And essentially, behind the scenes, this actually happened Sunday after the first scrimmage. And they decided that whoever made those decisions in the Richesson family decided that he wasn't quarterback one coming out of scrimmage number one. So it was time for them to move on.
I mean, never gonna, wish ill will. You live your life.
I don't think it's the kid.
You do what you
I
do.
don't think it's on the kid.
But like, I saw 2 practices up. That was more than enough to see that
He had a long way to go. He was talented.
he's a freshman.
Yeah, he was talented. There was a lot to like about him. I guess my camera's been in the screen here the whole time. There's a lot to like about him, but you weren't ready to come in and just instantly be like the quarterback for. This is a team coming off the college football playoff. I guess here's the thing that annoys me. If you really believed in Luke Fickell and the culture and everything that they're about, which is what that family continued to say, and the message that they continued to convey, why didn't you trust that culture enough to send your kid here in January and let him try to win the job? Because at least if he was here in spring football, he would have been given a chance to earn the respect of his teammates, to compete through those 15 spring practices, to show it's very rare that a freshman quarterback ever wins a job. But you know what we remember, Dave, about Desmond Ridder? We remember at that first higher ground and into that first season when Desmond Ridder redshirted, we remember everybody saying, this kid has something a little different as a leader. Everybody is drawn to Desmond Ridder. We never heard that about Luther when he got here, and it's in large part maybe because he never was allowed that time to adjust because he went to Arizona and worked out with his dad while everybody was going through spring football. Dilfer's reaction. From what I've heard, Trent Dilfer was pissed. That makes him look bad.
I mean,
This makes him look bad that a kid went through 2 months and 10 days or whatever it was. That a kid went through 10 days of camp and said, I'm not QB1. Fuck this place.
I guess my question would be like, where are you going to go to get on what
Well,
level?
He can't play anywhere this year.
Well, but this is just like,
Period. Right.
I'm not talking about like
They're
today,
just gonna
tomorrow.
hand you the starting job.
Right. Like, how far down do you have to go to leave Cincinnati and a coach like Luke Fickell that in the coaching community, more or less, probably, I don't talk to any other coaches, but I'm gonna go on a limb and guess that he's a pretty respected coach in the industry.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect for Luke Fickell in the business.
So how far down do you have to go to find a place that one will take you after you left a program 10 days into camp? And
this
two,
is the important part you're going to say.
And,
I don't know what you're going to say, but I think this is the important part.
And two, where you're going to hear the thing that you want to hear.
Well, okay.
That
Not
you,
quite.
yeah, you can, like, you're going to be our starter.
Here's my question. Where do they think they're going to go that the coach isn't going to call Luke Fickell?
Well, I mean, every coach is going to call Luke. I shouldn't say every. That's the thing. How far down do you got to go to where the coach is going to go? You left UC after 10 days. Yeah, come on in without calling Luke. And how far down are you going to have to go to find a place that is going to fit your vision of, like, never playing?
Richard, I don't know that that's right. I don't know
Nope.
that that's right.
There ain't. Nope. There's not one MAC coach that is not calling
There's always a coach that's going to take a kid he thinks is
yes,
going to
but
be really good.
there's not one Matt coach that isn't calling Luke Fickell and asking him what
They're
happened.
all calling. They're all calling.
For those on the audio format only, Richard suggested the MAC, the Sun Belt, the WAC, and maybe Conference USA.
I like that you do that because I'm bad at it. Thank you.
That's why I'm pretty safe.
I mean, yes, there's always going
Thank
to be
you, Aaron.
some. There's always going to be somebody, but like, he has nothing to show. Like, you're literally
Here's the thing, Dave.
you're
Here's the
flying
thing, Dave.
blind. You're going to attach yourself to this kid who just walked out of a program like UC.
Dave,
That ain't happening.
he was clearly QB4.
Oh yeah, I don't even watch
You
the
were there.
fours, and I knew
You
that.
were there. He was clearly QB4. Clearly. Jeffrey wants to know, does this impact the Solis that was good friends with him? Yes, you don't want these problems. If you're, again, I'm a proponent of allowing kids to go through the process as much as they want. But if you recruit a kid hard in the summer and the message is, we'll get back to you in January. Nah, fam.
No,
Nah, fam. We're good. We're good. So Solis, I personally would just take off the board.
yeah,
FCS. But FCS schools are still going to call and say, what happened? What
they're gonna just go.
happened?
Inquiring minds want to know, why did a kid rated like he did, who went to Cincinnati, leave after 10 days of camp? I just want to know, like, not that it would be a
Well, and the
deal breaker,
honest
but
answer
they would
is,
just want to know.
the honest answer is because the people around him were upset that he wasn't QB1 after scrimmage 1.
So if they're upset he's not QB1 at UC after scrimmage 1, you think they're going to just be like, yeah, Morehead State, we're coming.
Well,
Like
screw all these quarterbacks we got on our roster.
Well, they obviously have a mindset of what he is as a player anyway. So
Right.
you think they're going to go to the FCS level, or you think they're going to go to the conference, the bottom Conference USA level? Like, that's below them apparently. If he
Sure.
wasn't, if not being the starter wasn't good enough, then you think going to, Texas State is going to be good enough?
I'm just going to say,
It's fast. I'm going to be fascinated
wrong.
to see what happens.
not wrong. You're not wrong, Joffrey.
I mean,
Not wrong.
I'm going to be fascinated when, I'll forget about him tomorrow.
And
then-
I'm sure his dad's probably going to watch this podcast. And if he sees it, he's going to want to fight me. But I've had a couple dads of recruits want to fight me over the years. It's never happened. Juka, his dad is going to accept sending his prized possession to JUCO. Here's the problem, Dave. At some point in time, thinking you are cultivating a gold mine, thinking you're cultivating a lottery ticket is not how this fucking works. When has it worked? When has it worked?
I mean, for every, really, especially when you talk quarterback, I mean, like, look at the best quarterbacks in college football and then who translates to the best quarterbacks in the NFL. How many of those guys were golden boys coming out of high school, stars in college, and just flat out stars in the NFL?
Right.
I mean, I can go through the list real quick. Aaron Rodgers went to junior college, then went to Cal. Tom Brady, obviously everybody knows, Michigan, 199th pick. Joe Burrow, Ohio State, transferred LSU. Patrick Mahomes, wildly wildly discussed why they would draft him and trade up for him coming out of Texas Tech. Did not have a glorious college career by any stretch of the imagination. Josh Allen went to Wyoming. Justin Herbert, Oregon. I mean, he might be the one guy that is kind of like high-level recruit, high-level college player, high-level, Burrow, I think, would fall into that category too. But he still had his bumps. I mean, he had to transfer.
Yeah, for sure.
Like who are these kids who are these 5-star quarterbacks that go to college, are incredible at college, leave early, and then are incredible in the NFL?
It's a small list. Well, and like the Burrow thing, that was just Ohio State making a bad decision.
Yeah. I mean, he was hurt, and so there's always circumstances. Like, yes, it's easy to look back and go, how could you start Dwayne Haskins over Joe Burrow and JT Barrett over Joe Burrow? But
hold on, time out. T-Win. This might be the worst take ever. I love you, T-Win.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. Ben was
Ben Bryant.
T-Win asked if he could be doing to Ben Bryant and come back later. Like, he fought
Ben Bryant fought for everything for 3 years, right? He fought tooth and nail with Desmond Ridder. There were people in the program, high-level decision makers in the program, that wanted Ben Bryant over Desmond Ridder. It was just that their vote didn't count. Luke Fickell's vote counted. This is 10 days at higher ground and saying, I'm out. I'm done. I came here and I thought so little of this program, or my dad thought so little of this program, that I expected to be quarterback one at scrimmage one. Oh no, the hiccups.
Like, I wish I would just for my own personal enjoyment, I wish his dad was at the scrimmage and I could sit down and just go, what did you see in that scrimmage that made you
think he was better than any of these guys?
He should be the starting quarterback.
He was clearly quarterback 4, Dave.
I mean, he would probably say, like, well, he wasn't given any reps with the ones, and he would have, if you put better players around him, he would have elevated their play and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, so for the 10 days previous at camp, he didn't do anything to make the coaches go, holy shit, we got to get this guy reps with the ones.
Right. Guess what? JQ Hardaway's getting reps with the ones. Quincy Burrows has been so good that he's gone from I don't think there's a space to play him to getting reps with the 2s. There are redshirt freshmen on this roster that are going to be on the field in Fayetteville. You didn't have the patience to let your kid grow, to let your kid become a man? Like, I'm not even going to get into some of the stuff I heard about, like, how uncomfortable he was in social settings.
You just kind of did get into it.
No, well, okay, you're right. I did. I'm sorry. He wasn't prepared when he got here to be a college student.
Well, he went to a super small private high school.
Yeah.
And was the big dog quarterback, and
the talent is there. He just needed the salt, the pepper, a little paprika, maybe some smoked paprika, a little cayenne. He didn't get any seasoning. They served up, a bland baked chicken breast that they put in the oven for 20 minutes.
With some broccoli.
Yeah. It's sad. spill the beans and get into it. The fans want it. How much more into it do you want me to get? I've been spilling the beans as much as they can be spilled. Okay, Dave, I'll spill the beans. You remember the video from Coney Island? Like where the team went to Coney Island right before camp started? And there were videos from the UC account of guys doing like belly flops off the diving board and having some fun, and everybody's having a good time. Luther was sitting like 20 yards away, eating a bowl of unseasoned baked chicken and uncooked broccoli, while the team was having a great time. That's not on him. That's how he was programmed. He's a robot. Don't do that to your kid. Stop, you assholes.
Been trained to act like every second is an opportunity to get better, and that if you're not doing that, then you're wasting your
the team's eating, it's a day off. They're at Coney Island. They're having, some La Rosas, some fried chicken, like some, like Montgomery Inn or Todd Marinovich. Yeah, Jim Thomas. Todd Marinovich.
Except Marinovich could actually play.
Yeah. Well, I think Luther can play.
But we don't know. At least Marinovich stayed at USC and then tried to play in the NFL before, his things happened. But his dad was like a crazy trained dad, but he didn't go hopscotch from school to school because they weren't doing what his dad wanted them to do. His dad just was like a lunatic from a training standpoint.
That's Luther's dad as well. And they thought here's the honest take. From the start, they felt Cincinnati was below them and that they could, with Desmond Ridder leaving, we can go to Cincinnati and Luther's going to be the starter day one. No questions asked. Right? That's the belief, really. When you look at why this happened, right? They identified Cincinnati as Desmond Ridder is out the door, and Luther's going to be able to go in there and win that job.
Yeah, I mean, UC was basically his first big offer.
Yeah.
And then they just waited and waited and waited, and they had that Midnight Madness thing, and they waited and waited and waited, and the big offer, in their mind's eye, the big offers never came.
Why? Why do those big offers never come typically in those situations? Because the coaching staffs identify, we don't want to deal with this.
We don't. This ain't worth it.
This ain't us. Nah, I'm good, fam. We'll see. We've gone way too long, but we needed to touch on this because I think the fan base needs to know what really went down here. There's nothing Luke Fickell and company could have done other than handing him the starting job, and they were never going to do that. Never.
Yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed this show. I think it's been a fun one.
It's certainly been a roller coaster.
It's been a roller coaster. There's been a lot to this show in podcast format.
The timestamps are going to be super fun on this one.
Aaron's going to be working on the timestamps next Tuesday.
Yeah, we went over my 2-hour limit, and we didn't really talk about any current football.
No. Aaron, you want to talk about some football? You want to do a nightcap?
We'll do the
talk about some football.
Yeah.
All right. Dave, I'm excited for the new show. I'm excited for the sponsor. I love you and Jeff together. I think that is going to be outstanding. I think you are going to be a great duo on Sunday morning.
I hope everybody tunes in and enjoys it. We're gonna have some fun with it, and hopefully talk about a lot of wins and a lot of good stuff in the college football space.
Chad, I have an idea. The numbers have been going up steadily for the last hour.
Okay.
Do you want to do a live nightcap? since we didn't talk football?
Like just on the back end of this, like,
Yeah.
okay, Dave, see you later.
Well, I was gonna say, we can make it a nightcap separate, but I mean,
Hey, are you guys willing to jump into a live nightcap? We'll do it.
I'm just saying.
I have to get up. Like I've got like roughly 45 minutes for a live nightcap.
I'll set it up right now. And
okay, everybody, right now that's in this room, we got 70 of you motherfuckers in this room. Check back in like
as soon as I
minutes.
leave, as soon as I leave, that number's going down big time.
Yeah, I know.
But we'll actually be talking football. So
we're gonna talk some football. Live nightcap coming right back at you.
All right, guys.
All right, Dave. Good shit. Thank you, brother. See ya. That's the BCJ podcast presented by the Holy Grail right here on BearcatJournal.com. Stay tuned. Check this channel in like 3 minutes.